सबको गले से लगाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो। जिसका न कोई संगी साथी, ईश्वर है रखवारा। जो निर्धन है, जो निर्बल है, वो है प्रभु का प्यारा। प्यार के मोती, प्यार के मोती लुटाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो। आशा टूटी, ममता रूठी, छूट गया है किनारा। बंद करो मत द्वार दया का, दे दो कुछ तो सहारा। दीप दया का, दीप दया का जलाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो। छाया है जहूं और अंधेरा, भटक गई है दिशाएं। मानव बन बैठा है दानव, किसको व्यथा सुनाए। धरती को, धरती को स्वर्ग बनाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो। ज्योत से ज्योत जगाते चलो, ज्योत से ज्योत जगाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो। ज्योत से ज्योत जगाते चलो, ज्योत से ज्योत जगाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो, धरती को स्वर्ग बनाते चलो।
Good afternoon, friends. We are your hosts, Raj and Aradhna Asava, bringing you the weekly HungerMitao program. Through this 30-minute show each Saturday, we share with you updates on food insecurity in the North Texas area while providing information on volunteering and food donation opportunities. Friends, through this community-led movement, the Indian American community is unifying its hunger relief efforts to emerge as a big part of the solution to fighting hunger in America.
Thank you for joining us. Friends, through this show, you also learn of all the ways in which each one of us, in the spirit of give where you live, is making a difference and can continue to make a difference. Please visit HungerMitao.org to learn more about this national level movement. And you can also visit ntfb.org/HungerMitao to find out what specifically we are doing right here in North Texas. Through these sites, you can navigate to any of the food banks or the programs that we are currently engaged in and figure out ways through which you can get engaged, whether it is volunteering, food drives, or if you have a few hours and you want to become an activist and join the HungerMitao Steering Council, please consider that. Go visit HungerMitao.org are ntfb.org/HungerMitao.
If you have heard us in the past, you already know that USDA projects more than 38 million people, including 12 million children in the United States, are food insecure. That is almost 12% of our country's population. And with high inflation and shortages, this number is growing every day.
Anna and I were recently interviewed by Amy McReynolds, Chief Equity Officer of Feeding America. Last week, we played the first part of that interview for you, where we took you on our journey, our backgrounds, and how we stumbled upon this issue of rampant hunger in America and the beginning of the Hunger Mitao movement. Today, we'll share details about the Hunger Mitao movement, the intent behind it, the strategy and vision, the success of the effort, its spread, and also the challenges we faced.
And the fact that we need help. We need more people to join us as activists in whatever capacity they can. There is no minimum time or qualification commitment needed for this work. If food insecurity in your neighborhoods bothers you, you qualify. You can learn more and reach us through hungermitao.org. That is HungerMitao.org.
So, listeners, here is the second part of our conversation, starting from when the Hunger Mitao program, Hunger Mitao movement was launched. We launched Hunger Mitao on September 29, 2017 at a friend's home.
Okay.
Some of the board members from North Texas Food Bank were there, community leaders were there. And at that launch, we made a commitment to the food bank that the Indian American community will enable 1 million meals. Now, how do you go about enabling 1 million meals? Well, the very next day after the launch, Anna and I started doing awareness sessions. Whether it is 2 people at Starbucks or 20,000 people at the football stadium, we went and spoke about the hunger issue, the face of hunger being different in this country, and ways in which the community can get involved. And we must have conducted over 100 awareness sessions just in the very first year of Hunger Mitao. And you'll be happy to know that the word got picked up, and the community, once they learned about the hunger issue, they stepped up to the plate. And in just 7 months, we crossed the first million meals.
That's fantastic. That's amazing. And I'm wondering, what challenges did you run into in just creating greater awareness about the issue of hunger in this country?
So I would put challenges in kind of 2 buckets.
Okay.
One of the challenge was to create awareness of food insecurity around us. This conversation becomes a bit challenging. On the surface, people see overweight and an obese population,
Yes.
and they almost always equate it with prosperity and plentiful, right? Then there's also this perception that we have enough governmental programs to take care of those who are in need, right? So just talking to people and kind of helping them peel back the layers and say, okay, yes, you see somebody who is overweight, but malnourishment also results in
Yeah.
weight
Obesity.
issues.
Yes.
We have to keep reinforcing those messages. We did see the stunning images of long lines for food assistance during the pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely.
That helped shine a light on the issue, and we saw communities respond. But the attention of media has now shifted to other issues. And many people either forget about insecurity or forget about food insecurity, or they assume that hunger is no longer an issue.
Right.
So that is a challenge. It's an ongoing challenge to make people aware. And then from a Hunger Mitao movement perspective, we are also running into challenges.
Yeah, I think I mean challenges is par for the course here. Um, you know, we have made a huge strides in the hunger mitau movements, right? Over the last 4 years, through Feeding America and the Food Banking Network, we have been able to raise over 40 million meals. The community has definitely stepped up and is ready to take on this issue and join forces. But sometimes communities as such, not just the Indian American community, but communities as such, there are different causes that are pulling at them. There are different
Yes.
agendas that people and organizations have. So it becomes like herding cats. You have to kind of continuously work with the community to make sure that they don't forget about hunger. They could be addressing other issues, no problem. But we have to keep educating them about the hunger issue, about the progress that is being made, about the new challenges that are coming in this space. So we find that at a Hunger Mitau movement, it cannot be simply, do an awareness session once and then they are on board. No, you have to
Mm-hmm.
continuously work with them, continuously educate them, make sure they don't drift away.
Yes. And I'd like to think that as I am a hunger fighter, right, that this
Mhm.
issue is solvable. I want to feel like I'm working towards solutions and
Mhm.
moving towards something. And I can imagine others do as well.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And actually, we call these challenges, but therein lies opportunity,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
We
Yes.
see tremendous potential because even engaging the wider Indian American community, I mean, that opportunity is huge.
Yeah.
But the challenge there is from a Hunger Mitau perspective, we are a pure movement. We are not a 501c3.
Mm,
So for us to scale and to strengthen this model, we need more resources.
More hands on deck.
We are
yes.
in such critical need, Amy, of more volunteers who can be passionate activists and leaders in their own cities.
So, how are you all tackling that? That's a big challenge for this movement.
It is. So currently, Hunger Mitau, is at 8 food banks across the country, and fortunately, we have had local champions who have stepped up, and they have become the face of Hunger Mitau in their neighborhoods, in their cities, and
Mm-hmm.
interfacing and working directly with their food banks. And Anna and I, we play the role of mentors to, we are always available as a sounding board, as a guide. And then we also ensure that certain principles of Hunger Mitau that have been laid are not what's called
Diluted.
diluted, right?
I
For
see.
example, 501, no, like we want to continue to be a movement. We do not want to create another 501c3. It may have some benefits, but our goal is to engage the community directly with the food bank rather than a pass through or rather than going to yet another organization.
And
Yes.
that is
Yes.
something, yeah, we are very, very strong proponents of that because there's really no need or no room for another organization here.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
So this deep connection with the food bank that already has the infrastructure in
Exactly.
place, right? And you all are building the people power, right? When I think about engaging people and volunteers and being able to think about food raising and fundraising, that's people power that this movement is helping to fuel.
yeah,
Right.
very well said.
And Amy, if I may just kind of step back a little bit, at the get go, we worked with the Indian American community primarily because we come from India. We had a large personal network of Indian friends where we had influence. And we also wanted to put boundaries around a certain community that we can work with. Because if it is purely of raising awareness, well, Feeding America and food banks are already doing that for everybody. We just wanted to work a community at a time. So we figured that if we can prove this model of raising awareness and engaging the community in the fight against hunger through the food banking system, then this model can be replicated to other communities as well.
Yes.
Definitely, because that was the intention. If it works for one discrete community, there's no reason why it cannot work for another.
And we've been blessed with our corporate background from get go. Not only we had a clear strategy, we also templatized everything that we did, our awareness documents, our website, and we made it into what we call in the technical world open source. So if any other community is interested in it, they don't have to start from scratch like we did. They could run away, they could take our model, they could do cut and paste, and they could be up and running in very very short time. And last year we proved it because the Chinese American community here in North Texas reached out to us and they said, hey, we want to engage our community in this wonderful important cause. And we worked with them, and in matter of weeks we had them up and running, and we played the role in the background as their mentors. And this has been a very successful replication of this model to another community. And we have other communities, having seen two communities engaged in this fight against hunger through the food banking system. We have the Latin American community. We are working with them currently. Hope to share some good news in the near future. And
Good.
we believe that other communities will find it a natural way of getting their community involved in this.
Yes. What I love about what I've learned about HungerMitao and the movement here is that there is there are some principles, but it's not prescriptive. But there are some principles here, right? The 4 pillars that you talked about related to HungerMitao, and how each community engages in that and implements that and really thinks about how they connect with one another is really the determination of that community.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I'm curious, lots of work done. I noted you said you started this in 2017 and it was going to be a 3-year commitment. If I look at my calendar, it's 2022.
Yes.
So I'm curious, what have you learned about yourself through your involvement with HungerMitao? Why do you keep going?
Well, hunger is somehow not acceptable to us, and I to anybody that we speak to. Right, in today's time, there's really no need for hunger to exist. There is so much food wastage, but inequity and lack of access, and these are issues that are so complex that while government works on that, we as a community still need to do our part. And that is why we can't seem to disengage, because hunger is still a big issue here.
Yeah.
Well, another reason we can't disengage, because since we are a movement, we need other leaders to step up and somebody who we can pass the baton to. So we actually encourage community members to get more involved, and those who have deeper passion and have time and resources to get deeply involved, we are ready, waiting, and welcoming them to come in, and we will share
the
all the
movement.
information, and they could lead the movement, they could be the face of the movement.
Yes.
Because one thing, again, going back to our corporate America learning, is that succession planning is very key. You notice that this is called HungerMitao, not Raj and Anna anymore.
Right.
So this is truly a community affinity model. It brings pride to the community, and we encourage community members to step up and take charge and come up with their creative ideas and help the food banks in getting food to the needy. So,
So, Amy, we are looking for leaders,
yep.
but that doesn't mean that Raj and I are pulling our support away. Our resources are still earmarked
Correct.
Yes.
to this cause, but we would love for others to kind of become activists and give this movement their own colors.
Yes. We often say within Feeding America that this is a leader-full movement, right? A
Yes.
movement full of leaders, not just a few. So it sounds like that is what you are also looking for, right? To be able to continue to spread the movement, to be able to share leadership to be able to have greater impact.
Absolutely.
So I'm wondering, okay, so 2017, we're now at 2022. If we were to look out 10 years from now, what do you hope to see happening? What will be happening as a result of the effort you, Raj, and Anna have put into this work?
I would say that, you know, as a human being, you just wish that this problem did not exist. And hopefully in the next 10 years, we have uh, good minds have come together and figured out how we can ensure that when we are producing, more than enough food to feed every hungry belly on this planet many times over, hopefully we will eventually come up with a true model that will ensure that food is one thing that human being on this planet will never have to worry about. That
Yes,
is a vision, that's a hope, that's a desire. Will it happen next 10 years? Will it happen in our lifetime? We don't know. However,
But we do see a lot of organizations working in this space, and that is encouraging. I would love to see 10 years from now a unified approach, right? So organizations are not working in silos because hunger is not just a lack of food, there's a lot of other issues that need to be addressed. So, if these wraparound services kind of work together, I feel we'll be able to also shorten the line, not just feed the line.
that's right.
So
That's right.
that's one thing. And another thing I would love to see, hopefully less than 10 years from now, is more and more discrete communities kind of including hunger relief in their everyday kind of, it becomes part of their DNA. Because if there's one person hungry in the community, that's one too many. We may not be able to get rid of the underlying causes, but we can make sure that person is fed.
one other interesting thing, Amy, is that having since we are working with so many food banks, and when we do our research about those food banks and we look at their strategy, community is always an important segment in everybody's strategy.
Yes.
So I believe that community plays a very integral role. And in fact, I would even go as far as saying that community plays the last mile role in the fight against hunger, because the government can do so much, right? The food banks and Feeding America can do so much. But unless the community steps up and declares a war against hunger, saying that hunger is not acceptable where we live, hunger is not acceptable in our neighborhoods.
Yes, yes. I love this idea about community. To me, thinking about community is really all about equity because not every community, right? Not every population is impacted in the same way. And not every community and every population experiences food insecurity at the same rates, right? So being able to really uh, set the community context at the center of what the needs are in that community and develop a response. I would say, I think, yes, definitely last mile. I might even argue first mile, right? Let's hear what folks in the community really want and need to be able
Yeah.
to move out of food insecurity as well as address root cause issues of food insecurity. So I am all about community, and I know many members across the Feeding America network are, and we are talking to community-based leaders all season long here on Elevating Voices, Ending Hunger. Raj and Anna, I can't thank you enough. This has been such a great conversation today. I deeply appreciate the movement that you've created. I'm glad that you have decided 3 years was not enough and that you continue to be involved and mentor and think about other leaders, making room for other leaders in the movement. And I just really appreciate you all coming on today to share your story, share your needs, and share your plans for the future, your dreams for the future with us.
Amy, thank you so much. This was a pleasure. And thank you for giving us the chance to speak with so many more people than we do today. Hopefully, some of your listeners will be interested in creating their own community affinity model. And we would love to have that conversation with them. And everything that we have is available to them as well as our time.
I was going to ask, where can folks go to find out more information?
They can go to HungerMitao.org.
And we didn't explain this, but HungerMitao is a combination of two words. Hunger, all of your listeners know what hunger means. Mitao is a Hindi word, an Indian word for wipe out. So HungerMitao means wipe out, and it's spelled HungerMitao.
Right. So
Great.
it's wipe out hunger.
Yes, I can get behind that. Thank you so much.
Great. One thing I'll say in my closing remarks, Amy, is that, when people look at the Hunger Mitao movement, we have heard them say to us, this is the most logical thing. Why didn't I think of it? So my request to listeners is that regardless of who thought of it, folks, the movement is there. It's up and running. Jump on this train, and then let's make sure that we are accelerating towards our goal and heading in the right direction.
You just heard our interview with Amy McReynolds of Feeding America. Now you know what Hunger Mitao is and how you can join and support the movement.
Please tune in next Saturday to learn about how a food bank works. We'll talk about how Feeding America and all the food banks work together as a strong network to help feed the hungry in America. You will also learn about how the Indian American community continues to make a difference in this adopted land through Hunger Mitao.
Until next week, friends, remember, we may never be able to eradicate hunger, but let us ensure no one goes hungry.
Hunger Mitao.
HungerMitao.
कहाँ तक ये मन को अंधेरे चलेंगे, उदासी भरे दिन कभी तो ढलेंगे। कभी सुख कभी दुख यही जिंदगी है, ये पतझड़ का मौसम घड़ी दो घड़ी है, ये पतझड़ का मौसम घड़ी दो घड़ी है। नए फूल कल फिर डगर में खिलेंगे, उदासी भरे दिन कभी तो ढलेंगे। भले तेज कितना हवा का हो झोंका, मगर अपने मन में तू रखिए भरोसा, मगर अपने मन में तू रखिए भरोसा। जो बिछड़े सफर में तुझे फिर मिलेंगे, उदासी भरे दिन कभी तो ढले।